I had this question from Xiao Hongshu about how to be a conductor if there's no undergraduate program in conducting. That's the way it is in North America. I met one friend from Australia who actually did his undergrad in conducting, but you can't do that in America or Canada. I'm not sure about Mexico. One option, an obvious option, would be to do a major in music education. There's a lot of advantages in that. First of all, you're going to have to take your conducting courses and you're going to get a lot of podium time working with students, conducting and rehearsing. I think that's the strongest advantage that you have as a music educator, that you're practicing the nature of rehearsing. And additionally, you're practicing the nature of retention and recruitment. So when you're young, and let's say, for example, you're kind of popular and cool, but every once in a while you lose your cool or you say something a little bit insensitive, a little bit crassly or crudely, and then you hurt that kid's feelings and they drop out of music. If that happens enough times, your program and your ensemble is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So you realize as a teacher, in ways that a math teacher or an English teacher doesn't realize, that everything you do, everything you say directly contributes to people participating in you. And if you're a jerk for long enough, you teach yourself out of a job. So that's a huge advantage of being a music education major before you go into conducting. The other route is to go into performance. And the massive advantage of that is that your ability, your inherent musicianship of how you hear the music, that becomes like your limit as a conductor. If you can't hear yourself that something is out of tune, how can you possibly hear that they are out of tune? If you can't hear that you are rushing or slowing down, how can you hear that they are rushing and slowing down? So your sense of time, your sense of musicality, rubatos, phrasing, pitch, blending, all of that, if you yourself can't do it, it's almost impossible to hear and conceive of the thing and therefore ask someone else to do it. So there's massive advantages of being a performance major. And there's nothing to stop performance majors from taking the conducting classes anyways. Usually university will just have year 3 and 4, absolutely insufficient. You really need practice, so you could, as a performance major, assemble some of your friends and ask if you could kind of conduct them. But it's not going to be the same podium time as a music teacher. You're also not going to suffer the same consequences if you're like a jerk to your friends. Maybe they'll stop performing in front of you, but I just don't think the lessons about the kindness to your ensemble members are as strongly, learned and reinforced in the performance major as they are in music education. But you kind of learn that from doing the teaching, as opposed to, there's no real class in music education programs that teach you actually how to rehearse and do those things and not to be a turd. That's kind of learned the hard way on the job. So those are two different routes of how you can get into conducting. Go to a lot of workshops, get some feedback. Yeah.